Just as big of a deal as if I hit somebody. And my robbery charge can only have been on there. Donald Trump and Donald John Trump freed these people that have been abused by this corrupt system, by the bias of the D.C. bench and the abuse that happened under Merrick Garland and these cretins that operated at the Department of Justice. Thank you. People!
Trent Evans, ladies and gentlemen. Trent Evans.
I took over the Congressman Crane.
That was Trent Evans on Condemned USA.
Falls under the purview of the marshal's office, so all of the prisoners. And what they told us, what they told Congressman Crane was that anyone that hasn't been released, that they're following President Trump's pardon order, that there's possibility that some of them have other state charges that would be preventing them from being released. What we're trying to find out now is how many of the 21, 22 that are still in there still have any other charges, whether or not that actually applies to them, or if they're just slow rolling.
What about the people that have not actually been charged?
Well, those people,
part of the pardon?
those cases were dismissed. Those cases have all been dismissed already. So that was over yesterday. He issued that in his proclamation in that order.
The only thing that's not known is additional charges that stem from these charges. So in cases like a friend of mine, Ben Martin, is going to prison tomorrow because of in California because of the raid that was done on his house based on the January 6th charges. And now they're saying that they're
fruit of the poisonous tree. Right. Yeah.
Is anybody internally actually refusing to comply with President Trump?
we haven't got confirmation of that.
All we know is that people started getting out at midnight all over this nation. They're out in every other facility. Those facilities are also contracted BOP facilities. They also have marshals. This facility, I'm calling bullshit on this right now, on what's happening here. They can sugarcoat it. They can feed the members of Congress nonsense and make excuses. But we've seen this charade. This is defiance of this presidential order. This is a bureaucracy. And this is probably, again, like I said earlier, emblematic of what's going to happen under this administration. We don't yank and knock the tail of these people right up front and set the precedent. I'm sure that Donald Trump is furious right now, and I imagine he's going to ask. If I were Donald Trump, I'd send the National Guard and just come have them out. Yeah. Shut this down. One more thing. Yeah! All right, here we go. Real quick. So, Guy Reffitt, it's another important case, another fruit of the poisonous tree. We're calling on Ken Paxton, Attorney General Ken Paxton in Texas. We're calling on Governor Abbott in Texas to immediately issue a pardon for the state charges there for Guy Reffitt, which were nonsense charges that were picked up by the corrupt, thanks to the corrupt DOJ, the weaponized Biden administration through this January 6th maniacal nonsense that's occurred over this 4 years. So, Ken Paxton, listen closely. You and Governor Abbott have the authority to free Guy Reffitt. It is a travesty for these people to do another day in jail, to not be returned to their families, to not have their liberty restored in these United States in this time. The American people delivered a mandate. And there's not only that, we have John Woods. Think about this. We all know who Jack Smith is, that corrupt creep, the political legal henchman that operates for the Democrats. Jack Smith is responsible for numerous people. Agent Sicaro pled guilty to destruction of evidence in the John Woods case. It's not a J6 case, but this just recently happened. And Jack Smith is the political henchman that operates at the behest of the Democrats to take out our good conservative American people that support our Christian colleges, that support our constitutional rights, the people that have fought for this country, veterans, and many others that continue to do the necessary work to restore this nation, just like all of you did when we gave Donald John Trump the mandate as United States president. Thank you. Thank you.
Any proper charges for the Democrat weaponized DOJ members?
Oh, well, you know, the weaponized DOJ members that did this. So Title 18, Section 241 through 242 cover a litany of charges that these people could be held accountable for. That would be knowingly depriving an individual of their constitutional rights. The deprivation of rights under the color of authority is a serious crime. It is a crime that is punishable by up to life imprisonment and/or death if it's done in the use of one's authority. Let's go! Let's go!
We want justice! He ain't killed nobody. He's been over the stimmer. Trayvon, Eugene, Ely. He's been over there 9 years. He had temporary murder charge. It was an accident. They had stimmer over there. He's been over there 9 years.
No.
He needs to free my son. Thank you, Jesus. Y'all doing the right thing. I love you, sir. Thank you. Bless your heart. Please, just free my child. He's been over there 9 years. I moved over here suffering just to be with him so we can release him.
You know, a lot of what was wrong. We didn't know. I'll be honest. I thought you got yourself killed there. Now everything fixed. I recognize what this could really be about, what these people are and who they are.
Thank you. I've been over there 9 years. They need to release him. I've been
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus.
This is a time.
This is good.
Look, the American people have become aware of this corrupt judiciary. This kind of stuff's not going to stand. I don't know this woman, but I know one thing. My mind has been changed about our judiciary. My mind has been changed about our Department of Justice and how they handle things. I know we have a weaponized system. I know it's designed to prosecute and designed to imprison. We imprison more people here than anywhere in the world. That is a sick offense to the country that calls itself the land of the free.
That's right.
And that is
Free
not
them.
okay.
Free these people.
Somebody listen to this woman.
Changed though, can it be fixed?
You're damn well right. It's
unified.
going to change, and it's going to change. It started yesterday at 12 o'clock.
Right.
Yes.
The change already started.
Down in history. We gotta keep the momentum up. Keep pushing people. Free the people. God bless you, sir. God bless you. Please, I've been struggling.
Listen
for
to a
9
mother.
years.
Listen to this mother. I'm
My
hearing her
son,
story. Somebody.
He was on drugs, but he
Don't
changed
walk
his
away
life.
because it's not about January 6th mainstream media. Listen to a mother.
Yes.
Listen to the cries of a mother.
Yes, this system is really corrupt. My son been in 9 years just simmering. Free him. He made a mistake.
People who are addicted need help, not incarceration.
They incarcerated. He's been over there 9 years simmering.
That's right.
Give his God. Change the system.
God bless you. You're his voice. God bless you. You're his
Yeah,
voice.
what are you expecting to see here today?
Oh man, I
Thank you, sir. It's an honor to be able to speak to you. God bless you. Keep
Cheers. What's your name?
I was a recovery coach and this is Jake. all that. Oh, I get it. I get it.
We all human. We breathe the same
Yes,
color.
we
Human. Black, white,
processing. The marshals had to go in and they had to fix this situation, which is egregious.
what jail is he in this one or is
He is here in the DC
No, they moved him
gulag.
around a lot.
Yes, they did. They did a lot of diesel therapy on him, but now he's back here, and I think that's the one thing that makes most of us really angry and distrustful is that here you have a pardon from the president of the United
Not out.
States, and we're out here at midnight, and they're like the words were we weren't prepared. Why? Why?
Well, I think that we know.
Yeah.
Have you been out here since last night?
Exactly. Well, we came out here and we left at 12:30, and then we came back this morning at 7. Yeah. Yeah. So, thank you, sir. God bless.
Not what
And with the momentum now, like if there's an opportunity to take this elsewhere aside from this,
One man made a
These two are Trinity.
I've been going through hell for 9 years.
Oh, absolutely. Right here. Yeah, I got that.
but it would be maladministration and malfeasance. It would be an injustice, and it would be a slight against the humanity if I didn't do something about this going forward. We, the people, have to do something about the corrupt system and the wrongs that have been done to the American public long before January 6th happened. And make sure that it stops here under Donald J. Trump's administration, that we restore liberty and freedom for all people and get this right, where we cannot have a system that operates the way this does, what we've been subjected to. We're not the first. We're just the first group to have it done to us under political ideology and in mass like this. So we had a chance to come together, and we cannot misuse this opportunity to correct these United States in this judiciary and this corruption. We have to utilize this to take this effort off and really rip the Band-Aid off, expose the wound, get it cleaned out, and start the healing. And there's a lot of people who are wrongly imprisoned.
Right. And if there are people out there that are resonating with this message, where do they go? Where do they get more information about
They
the work
can
that you guys are
follow me on
doing?
Twitter and Condemn USA. They can come to our website, sign up for our newsletter. We're going to be moving forward. It doesn't stop with January 6th. It stops when justice is done.
Has the Freedom Caucus been in contact directly with the members inside of this facility?
Yes. Members of the Freedom Caucus have been in contact today with members inside this facility. There's a relay going on. We have a direct link into President Trump and J.D. Vance that are listening. I am proud to say that I know they care and they want to fix this. But I urge J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, we're not just here to fix this. We're going to fix it all. Under this administration, I want to be a part of that. People like John Gross over here. This is a fabled attorney, a J6 hero attorney. We are going to come together. We want to lead the American public. We want to lead our way out of this darkness that has taken place in this time. We're going to restore liberty and the light and the beauty of what is expected for American citizens, for all American citizens. This isn't just January 6th. This is about justice across the board for everybody.
What would you say to the officials inside of the prison that are still not releasing the January 6th prisoners?
Let my people go.
Yeah, let them go. Enough. We know they're freeing all over the country. There's 24 people left in prison in this country on J6, and 22 of them are here. Somebody explain that to me. How is it that people have driven from states away? We've got guys getting on airplanes that are likely to be here from all the way across on the West Coast, getting out of prisons or toward the western states. And they're going to be here at this protest. This is defiance by D.C. to follow the rules of law and the order as it was proclaimed yesterday in that presidential pardon. We shouldn't be shocked that it happened. As a matter of fact, I feel absolutely stupid that I've been duped again, that I woke up this morning and was shocked this was still going on. I thought surely these people aren't going to do this. And they did. Sure. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Who is that?
I think they
All right. So for those of you that didn't catch that, I'm sorry. They asked me to restate that. DC has been defiant of justice. DC has been defiant of the American people's rights, civil liberties, freedoms. That's got to stop. And what I was saying about this defiant jail, this defiant DC judiciary, the defiant Department of Justice that has defied the rule of law, that has imprisoned people, that has operated in this time so unjustly, so duplicitously, that we cannot allow these things to happen. And what we were explaining there just a moment ago was the members of the Freedom Caucus are on their way here. We're going to have House Representatives, members of the Freedom Caucus. Eli Crane has courageously called on all members of the House Freedom Caucus to come here, stand in solidarity, and bring justice to this situation where we're currently devoid of any such thing, where the absence of justice is here, and they're going to shed light on this. Now, not only that, in shedding light on the situation, we're going to bring justice to other matters. Donald John Trump promised us an administration that was going to be great. We were going to make America great again. He didn't say we were going to make America great again for conservatives. He didn't say we were going to make it great again for white people or black people or Chinese people or any other race or religion. He said he was going to make America great again for all people. And when we're going to make America great again for all people, that includes we have to have serious judicial and serious prison reform in these United States. We imprison more people in these United States and call it the land of the free. It was the land of the free. And now we've become the land of authority. And that's not going to work for the American people. Restoring liberty, bringing justice back, returning people home to their families where they belong, and not just J6ers. We have people sitting in jail that it's a ridiculous atrocity. I'll point you to one, Jack Smith, this fabled prosecutor that we all know is nothing more than a Democrat's henchman. He operates with groups like Cruz, Citizens for Responsible Ethics in Washington, and these Soros-funded, anti-American, Marxist, communist, ideological pigs that cannot stand in this country because that's not who we are. We have a constitution, we have liberty, we have freedom, we have a Bill of Rights, we have a Declaration of Independence, we have a Pledge of Allegiance that means something to us, and we have a national anthem that stands the hair up on the back of our heads because we honor veterans with those words. We honor men and women who have served in these United States Armed Forces to take us forward in life, to bring us into our greatest times. And we have faltered and we have failed. We've stubbed our toe. We've made our mistakes as a country, but we're not perfect. Only one perfect individual ever walked this land. That was Jesus Christ. And in God's name, we're going to fix this. We're going to resolve the atrocities. We're going to bring this country into the greatest light, the greatest liberty, the greatest freedom, the greatest mechanization, the greatest opportunity, the greatest tech, and we're going to do it the right way with President Donald John Trump, with all of us here collectively. He's not leading us, and we didn't put him on a pedestal. He's the president of these United States, and he operates with our express consent and authority.
Sir, what is your name?
My name is Trennis Evans. I founded Condemned USA after the corrupt and unbelievable, disgusting Biden regime sent a SWAT team to raid my home after January 6th. And what was my crime? I was walking around on a megaphone saying, don't harm the police. Don't damage the building. It's all well documented. It's on my court record. And for that, I got to take a stay, a very short one, by the way, and a very short stay in federal prison. Now, the judge that sentenced me, Judge Dabney Friedrich, this is a legacy of corruption, by the way. Her husband was the one that ruined Ted Stevens' election as Alaska senator. Don't forget, with Judge Emmett Sullivan. It's just a dirty, incestuous vine. But what happened in this case, in my case, and mine is, I'm going to give you this just because it's an inkling. My case is a drop in a massive bucket of the injustice. But she sentenced me to 3 years of probation and federal prison for 20 days as a domestic terrorist. Now, that's a short time. Most of these guys could do that standing on their head. These are heroes and patriots in this building that have been wronged, abused, and the injustice has taken place. But at the same time that I got that sentence, she sentenced a man who tore down as part of tearing down a statue, burning $34,000 worth of federal property, and guess what else he did? He assaulted an officer on that day. And then after assaulting an officer while out on pretrial release, mind you, no January 6th defendant would have been out on pretrial release for assaulting an officer in the manner this gentleman did. Then, while on pretrial release, he assaulted a journalist and an officer. And he gets home with 6 months of probation. Yet I went to federal prison and I went on probation. But look, what about Stuart Rhodes? What about Enrique Tarrio? I got any Proud Boys here today.
I think there's one right behind you, brother.
Proud of your boy.
Look at
Listen to this.
There's one on
They
the
have,
other side.
they have said these people are racist. They've said all these lies about them. That is not a true statement. How the hell do a bunch of racists elect a man to be the president of their organization that's black and Cuban? Come on.
Come on.
Get out of here. Nobody marches under that banner. That's nonsense. Just like they have kept this race baiting wars alive, they have relegated the American citizens to injustices such as January 6th, and collectively we became aware. That's why we have to have this massive prison reform. That's why we have to have massive judicial reform. That's why the Freedom Caucus is on their way here. But I want to know where our senators are, and I want to know where the governors are. Why aren't they calling out for the people of their state? They know this abuse is going on. So I'm calling on those conservative governors to call out against the abuses that are happening here in D.C., not just on what's happening today, but what has happened throughout history. We need to put a stop to it. We need a return to liberty and a stop to this absolute authority that's taken place. Guy Reffitt is a Texas citizen. Governor Abbott needs to pardon Guy Reffitt immediately so he can, that fruit of the poisonous tree that came from the arrest that was made when the DOJ sent their henchmen in the select committee operation that happened under these United States. By the way, can we talk about the select committee scumbag cretins for a minute? Those members of the select committee fraudulently altered evidence. They fraudulently altered video evidence, not just of me, but others. I am the individual that stood on the United States Capitol steps January 6, 2021. And I was proud to be there. And I'm never going to apologize for being there. I stood there in defiance of tyranny when they stole our election. In the theft of that election, I stood peacefully and I said, do not harm the police, don't damage the building. And they changed that message. They fraudulently altered the timestamp and they played it for the American public as if I chose to start an insurrection. I'm telling you right now, look around. Do you see the kind of men around here? The United States veterans, law enforcement, good, God-fearing men. If we came for an insurrection, you'd have damn well known it.
That's right. Yeah.
Better yet, I want you to make it make sense to me how the most armed populace on the face of the planet came to overthrow, supposedly, the United States government, the largest military industrial complex that ever existed. And we left our rifles at home. You can't bullshit the American people like you've been bullshitting the American people. This injustice is now coming to a head. And under Donald John Trump, the exposure of these judges and the absolute maniacal effort of this weaponized government is going down. We are going to institutionalize. This institutionalized nonsense is going to stop, and we're going to have a real return. There's a lot of great people here, a lot of people that should be speaking. You got anything to say, sir?
I would just like to
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you, Trinice. We're an American patriot. We love you. I just want to mention the 4 American citizens who were killed by police on January 6th. Ashley Babbitt was shot in the neck inside the Capitol. Roseanne Boylan was beaten and trampled to death by police on the Lower West Terrace at the mouth of the tunnel. And they lied about her and said she died of a drug overdose. Anybody who watches that footage can tell she was beaten and trampled to death by Lila Morris and the other Metro police that were there. And Lila Morris was invited to the Super Bowl after that, given awards. So I also want to mention Benjamin Phillips and Kevin Greason, who died early on in that day. It was a peaceful crowd gathered at the base of the Capitol building, and bombs started going off. And rubber bullets started going through people's faces like Joshua Black. That's how it started. We all know how it started. And this has got to stop. This authoritarian regime has to stop. Donald Trump is back. Baby, he is back.
We the people are back.
I want to point out that for decades we've been electing ineffectual politicians in Washington who have been sliding us further into a bloated bureaucratic system that does not respond to the people. And then in COVID, COVID, take our Constitution and wipe their asses. We took our First Amendment right to assemble, our First Amendment right to freedom of religion, took our churches, took our jobs, locked us in our houses, put us online, calling our good friends and our family. It's possible that you can this thing as consumers. And then the election season was corrupted, censorship, lies, deception. So, every stole the election by election year when American citizens on January 6th
have been a detail for any January 6th.
then there's with flashbangs and single rage. Officer Tao, Officer Backshaw.
Maybe when the breakaway, we are here with a January 6th political prisoner. I think God has been finally released from prison. Robert Morris, can you tell us about exactly when you were released and where you were released from?
Yeah, so I was released at 11:45 p.m. last night from the Pittsburgh halfway house. And instead of, kicking my feet up and saying, all right, enough's enough, I hopped in the car, drove through the night to be here so I could see these men released. I didn't feel right about, enjoying my freedom, knowing that other people weren't going to be free yet. And it's astonishing that even though the president signed an executive order, there's still innocent men inside that building. It blows me away.
And you have obviously exceptional insight into what it's like actually being a political prisoner. What can you tell us about what the people inside are feeling at this moment and what they felt over the last few years?
This is their final battle, man. I think that most guys that were in the first wave with me have already been released or have done their time. And I know that this is one of the last facilities that is still, hanging on to these guys. But this is the test, man. This is the final test. Their patience is being examined. I'm sure that it feels like someone's putting a drill to their gut right now. However, God tests those he's about to elevate. And so I think this is nothing but another spiritual battle that, we've all had to face in our own different types of arenas. But I think this is, when the Democrats say this is about the soul of the nation, they're exactly right. Are we going to sell our souls to Marxism, or are we going to maintain our integrity as a constitutional republic, leaning on God's understanding instead of our own? So it's a battle of biblical proportions that they're facing in their own hearts and minds.
And can you tell us how you specifically found out about the pardon? Were you watching television or news, or how did that all happen?
So, we've been watching the television since day one, but I was confident that Donald Trump was going to follow through with what he said he was going to do. He did that the first time he was president. What do you know? He's doing it again. And so I knew that I was pardoned around 8 p.m. last night, but the halfway house wasn't going to release me. So I spent a lot of time on the phone calling people up, asking people to make some phone calls. And one of the lessons that we unanimously learned while doing time in prison is a closed mouth don't get fed. So if you need something done, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, as they say. So I needed to be that squeaky wheel so I can get right out of that halfway house.
You want to do some questions, David?
Say your name again. Robert Morris. Welcome home.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, I gotta go. I'm gonna get the bomb on. So here's this. Had this. I got hit by lightning a couple months ago.
Really?
It was an epiphany. I just had an epiphany. I was on the phone with Ivan. I was like, Ivan. Set. No.
I just want to say I hope Donald Trump has a faith. Take it off self. Well, it's just BBC, and then it's all. It's a half hour later.
Oh, already. No. Oh my God. That's amazing. Where? This trip? Oh, okay. Yeah. I can say, yeah, get an interview out.
Pockets right now. Wanted me to get that.
To the J6s. Get your wallets down. Give me $150.
Dude, we voted unanimously.
Oh, that's what's fucking fun.
We need to figure out how we can handle it.
What they say? Why do you kind of like
Get some music.
You got something else? I got
We got 20 of it.
You don't know what jail's like until you get there, and then you're like, holy.
And I got 20 of it. We got it started right here. We got 30. Let's go. We got 40.
Straight from Guy Reffitt's wife. He is currently being released as we speak. Another win!
I need 30 more bucks. There's 20 of it. I need 10 bucks. I need $10 bills. We got it. We're getting them all to the J6s when they're getting out.
Yeah, are you with?
Cheers to Media News. Hey, have you talked to Enrique? How's he doing?
I'm sure he's doing just fine. He was released from prison.
Yeah.
Talk to Zach this morning, though. He's doing great.
They're all out.
Excited Enrique's been released.
I imagine he's pretty happy about it.
Hey, those other two guys.
He's live streaming. Who? This guy right here. Where's it going out to?
Citizen Media News.
Where?
Oh, Citizen Media News.
Citizen Media? He's got an ad. It's as big as NBC.
I'll put it in the front and you tell me where you want it. I'll stop to get it. Look, it's just. Oh, I know that. You're bored right here. Oh, I know it. It is.
How's it feel? How's it feel to be out right now?
Feels awesome.
I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I'm joyful and just so blessed. All the support of all these people after the last 4 years of hell that we've been through. These supporters that have been with us this whole way, sending me letters, encouraging my kids. The shout out to the Mervar family who even sent my kids packages. So when they took the long trips to the prison to visit me, they got to open up something new and fun to do in the car the whole way.
All these people that are here, when I drove past with the marshal, just I just cried. Like, wow. And it's over. And Trump did what he said he was gonna do. The first of many promises he's gonna keep. And God is so good to carry us through this. And I really believe that God let us experience this because by seeing what's going on in the judicial system and the government and the BOP, now we can change it and we can really make America great again. And I'm looking forward to that. The next 4 years are going to be awesome. And I can't wait to hold my children. Like, you don't know what you had until you don't have it. And when I can hug my little kids, like my youngest is only 8. When I can hug her, it's going to be the best hug, knowing like it's not a hug in a red box at the prison. It's going to be like a hug that I can have a million times a day. And my son, who's 13, I'm going to be there for his birthday in February, which is going to be awesome. And he's been wanting to play football. Guess what? I'll be there to give him a ride so he can play his football. And just those little things, they mean everything. I'm so happy to go back to my life.
When do you get to see your kids?
Right now.
Right now?
Rachel,
Hey.
Rachel Powell.
Rachel Powell.
Hi. I love you. Hi, Mom. Oh. I'm really glad you're out. I'm really glad I'm out too. I love you. I'm gonna hug you so much soon. I'll see you soon. I love waiting all day for you to get out. It was terrible. They just had me in a holding cell. 1 o'clock in the morning, they took me down, and I kept asking, "Can I make a phone call? I need to call my family." They wouldn't let me call. They just left me in this holding cell until finally the marshal showed up, and she got me out. And I'll be home soon. I love you more.
Can you say your name, please? Say your name.
Rachel Powell.
And were you just released?
Yeah.
After how long?
Um, well, in this prison or this jail, it's only been a few weeks. I spent a year at the SFF Hazleton in West Virginia, who should be totally ashamed of how they house human beings. And before that, I was on a 3-year draconian house arrest where I couldn't even go in my yard, where I was denied the right to go out and work. And that's happening in America. That they can take an American citizen and throw them in their house and say you can't come out, and then not count that towards their sentence when that can be a sentence.
Rachel,
What is happening in America? Like, we got to change it. This is why we need Trump, because we got to change it.
What's your message to Trump?
Thank you, because he's put my family back together again. Without him, I wouldn't be out right now. And that's amazing.
Were you ever actually convicted?
Oh, yeah. They gave me almost 5 years, and then I'm back in D.C. because I was supposed to be resentenced. The Supreme Court, they threw out the 1512 obstruction of justice charge because it should have never been used against protesters. And because of that, my guidelines changed, and I was going to get resentenced on January 6th, and it got rescheduled. And then last Friday, the judge said, I can't decide the sentence. And so I was here waiting for that. And now I don't have to go get resentenced because
Rachel, you're politically pressed about January 6th. If you had to do it over again, what would you have picked?
you know what? When the police became violent and everything started getting out of control, I wish we would all just sat down. You know, we just had Martin Luther King Day. Why didn't we all just sit down? That's a regret. I feel like it divided our country, And that's really what they want. The people that want to destroy our country, they want us divided because we can't stand and we can't make changes if we're divided. And we just really need to come together and change everything, fix it.
Do you have a message for former President Biden?
Don't let the door hit you or the good Lord split you.
Can you tell us your daughter's first name and how old she is? The one you were just talking to.
What were you convicted of?
Hold on, can I say your name and stuff? Yeah, that's fine. That's my daughter, Savannah Huntington. She's 28 years old, and she is an amazing, beautiful, wonderful human being who has been there for me this past year, taking care of her little siblings, like sending me books to read, calling, taking all my phone calls. She is the best daughter I could have ever dreamed of having. I love you so much.
What did they actually convict you of? What did they actually?
They had me for 3 felonies and 6 misdemeanors.
What did they say they were?
There's a I don't
Bogus.
yeah. Thank you.
The media has labeled you everything: terrorists, insurrectionists. What are you?
A good mother.
A mom.
Yeah, patriot, God-fearing mom. That's what I am.
From where? What's home? Where's home?
North of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Sorry, I missed the beginning. How did it go down in terms of you just
Okay.
come in, opening the cell? Like, how did it all unfold today?
Okay, so yesterday we watched the Liv and I, Liv is another J6 woman who's still in there. We watched the inauguration and the speeches, and we heard tidbits being dropped here and there about January 6ers. And we waited and waited and waited because we knew that we were going to get pardoned by the late afternoon. We knew we were getting pardoned. And so we just thought we would be released last night, and we weren't. And so around midnight, we went to bed, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, they woke me up and took me downstairs to a holding cell, which this prison is a filthy, disgusting, dirty jail. They should be ashamed of themselves that they can't even clean a cell. And to take a human being, to take me and put me in a cell where it's so filthy you can't even use the toilet. That's where they've housed me since 1 o'clock in the morning last night. And finally, the marshal showed up, and I believe she's the one that got me out because the jail definitely wasn't helping me, wasn't giving me any answers, wasn't letting me call my family, didn't bring me lunch. But the marshal showed up, and now here I am.
So when the marshal showed up, did she just walk you outside, or how did?
No, she walked up. She asked me who I was, took my friend's information for a phone call, and she must have went and worked her magic. And probably an hour later, she came to my cell, and she said, "I'm taking you out of here." And so she dropped me off around the corner, and I walked back over here.
And can you tell us again why you were here at this DC prison?
I was getting resentenced.
For what?
The 1512 obstruction of justice charge was thrown out by SCOTUS last summer. And because that's a huge felony, and because I wasn't going to have that anymore, I needed to be resentenced.
He was being held there for a little bit.
What's the process like in there?
U.S. Marshal had to show
The process like
Like getting out of jail?
POWEO.
well, I think I've described it a few times of how it went down. So kind of.
Hey, Rachel, we're praying for you. God bless you. God
Thank you,
bless
Rachel.
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 Regrets about going to the Capitol on January 6th?
I regret that we didn't sit down and just sit down. I think that would have been beautiful. Thousands of MAGA people just sitting down, and it would have thwarted any efforts to incite us, because I don't believe most of us went there thinking it would be a regular day, a regular protest where you chant and you go home. And unfortunately,
Rachel,
it
how
wasn't that.
long how you stay in detention? How long? How period of time did you stay in detention?
Did I stay in what?
In detention, in prison. How long you stay? 1 year? 3 years?
In prison?
Yeah, and in total, in between here,
It's been over a year,
over a year.
plus 3 years of house arrest.
Plus, okay.
Rachel, tell us how happy you are to be out.
I was in here since about a month. Yeah, about a month now. Yeah, yeah.
Rachel,
How happy you ought to be out.
you and she, the woman you mentioned, you're the only two who are here, the only two females.
The only two females that are here, but there are men still in there as well.
Do you know anything about them, about when they're potentially getting out?
They're going to be out today.
They're going to be out.
They're going to be out today.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Cynthia Hughes with the Patriot Freedom Project taking me shopping and eating good food with me and getting
What's
me
your
home
first
to my
meal?
children.
What's your first meal?
I don't know.
Pizza?
No, not pizza. It'd probably be something like with greens or fruit or
Salad, a good salad.
yeah.
Salad.
January 6th, Bishop being pardoned by Joe Biden.
Rachel, R.A.
If they weren't guilty, he wouldn't need to pardon them. The fact that he pardoned Anthony Fauci, which if anybody wants to know about him, they should read the real Anthony Fauci book by Kennedy, because that is an amazing eye opener. He's a complete criminal. And the fact that the January 6th committee, after destroying all of that evidence, now they get a part. Liz Cheney gets a pardon after I've just spent the last 4 years in the judicial system. That's the most disgusting thing he could have done is pardon them. I just agree.
When you found
Yeah.
when you found out you were getting a pardon last night, how did it feel?
Well, it was a relief, but I knew it was coming because Trump said he was going to help us, and I believed him, and so I knew he was going to do something for us. I just didn't know when and how it was going to play out.
Rachel, how did you find out?
Were you watching in the jail?
Yeah, Liv and I were watching the inauguration yesterday in the jail.
And so that's how you found out about the pardon. Can you kind of walk us through that process? What was the reaction like inside?
The women were very excited for us. Liv's been here longer than I have, and so she's really built relationships with the women in there. And there was some tears shed too, because while we're coming out to freedom, there's women still in there that, especially Liv, since she's been here, would consider friends, and she's leaving them here with no medical treatment, with poor food, with officers that yell when they shouldn't be yelling, in dirty conditions, with no access to the law library or even a regular library. And so it's very hard to be walking out to freedom and just the joy of seeing your family when you're leaving people in there that are suffering. And so it was bittersweet.
How does it feel for you to be out today?
We are going to change it.
That's right.
We're totally going to change
That's
it.
right.
Again,
We have a plan.
Cynthia is going to be amazing, and we're going to work on some prison reform, and we're going to help make America great again.
We already are.
What do you say to the president today? What's your message to the president?
Promises made, promises kept.
Yes. He's a bigger blessing to me than he could ever imagine. He's brought my family back together, and I'm indebted. Just thank you, President Trump, and thank God for sparing his life, because I really believe that God did spare Trump's life, because we do need to make America great again.
And don't forget about Vice President Vance, because he was a big supporter in the very beginning of this, of January 6th defendants being held, in solitary confinement and not, getting bond. It's just unheard of, and it should never happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been amazing. I read his book at Hazleton while I was in prison there.
Good.
And I thought, wow, I can see why Trump has picked this man for his vice president.
Yeah.
And it gave me great hope that, Trump only has 4 years, but with Vance, that's potentially another 8
Yeah,
years.
that's right.
So how much can we do?
He's rock solid. He's a
Yeah.
great, it's going to be a great VP.
Vance 2028. Vance 2028.
Yes.
Rachel, are you looking forward to getting back to normal life, planning to garden? What do you want to do most?
Okay, so the other day I had a dream that my garden was tilled, and it was a reasonable size, although it could have been a little bit bigger, and the dirt was super fine and nice. And so clearly I am happy to get back to gardening and having chickens. I promised my 8-year-old little girl that I would get her a pony.
Nice.
And some relatives are like, why did you promise her a pony? Why wouldn't I promise her a pony? Talk to your family last night? Yeah, I did talk to them last night. And actually, I just talked to my daughter a few minutes ago. Cynthia put her on FaceTime that I was able to see her. My oldest daughter, I have 8 children, and my oldest is 28, my youngest is 8. And so we've kept contact this whole year. They've come to visit me when I was at Hazelton. Here, I'm allowed more phone calls than I was at Hazelton, so we were on the phone a lot the last couple of weeks, which was really. How do you talk to your kids about your time in jail and how you stayed? I believe in being totally honest and open with my children. And so I talk to them about the situations just like I'm talking to you. And they understand what's going on.
Where are your kids?
My kids are in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
What was your first reaction or first thought when you found out that you were getting out? Well, I knew I was going to be getting out because I knew Trump would pardon me. But of course, it was joyous and very relieved. Finally, because you get little fears that come up. Will this take months? How long am I going to be in here? Will I be forgotten about? Cynthia wouldn't let them forget about me. I knew that. She told me on the phone. She's like,
We didn't
"I won't
forget
let
about
them
you,
forget
Rachel.
about you." I know. There's other people here too that are just a huge blessing. Just out here every night, out here every single night. It's humbling, you know. These women that go through the Bureau of Prisons, how they do it without support, I don't know. Because I had some dark down days, and knowing there was people out there was huge. Lifted me out of the darkness time and time again. Right, your lift to turn loose. We're gonna rack it. Okay.
I took this on that thing. 4 years afterwards, do you have regrets about what happened on that day, on January 6th?
Every breath that you know is right now. What's your name?
I'm not.
I'm sorry.
Rachel.
Just
Give me your name.
sit down. Just I figured I just that and it's Patriots. I haven't ever stood in your home.
It's
Rachel, what's your last name?
How POW yellow.
Thank you. So you would do it differently. That one. You would do it differently.
I feel like I was in jail.
You know how he his voice is I was very active and I was all about testosterone.
He was saying, I don't.
You're covering their face. Oh, it's already there.
I don't even call that. I don't really have to do that.
Oh.
Probably.
Who's that?
That was lost. I thought you just face it. You gotta put that up. You gotta get flipped.
I would hear right spot.
I saw it. Hey, dude. I just got Mickey.
Oh, Mickey knew about the gangster right there.
I'm gonna do a rating.
Oh, oh, you got a hit?
I just wanted to give her a hug.
I know that.
Why are you here all the time? Are you following me?
Oh, you can see the interview that I just did with Ashley's mom, Mickey.
Give me epic sound. Nice interview. So,
I wasn't inside.
yeah, he said on the movie, he's like, it's because I feel like I'm African speaking out of you. I was like, I just made me a rock star.
That's pretty good.
Like, I couldn't have done that myself. You did it.
Sorry, it's cold. I'm trying to put my gloves on.
I've been texting him and said, come down here. And I was like, Ivan's always wrong about everything. And then I was like, all right, we'll do it. And Ivan was right for once. Hey, are they freedom protesters coming down? Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm not staying for them, dude.
Eli Crane.
He is.
He's in there with the marshals, making sure they don't get transferred.
About to go get a beer, dude.
See the ring with the Trump face on it? That was the of all the Trump here. I was like, oh, I want to be.
We've got another announcement. We've got communication from inside the jail. We've got a little bit of a reason here. I'll give you guys a second. I know everybody wants to hear this.
Right behind you, boss.
There we go. Okay, so here is the new update from inside the jail. This is what's happening. We have now under authority from inside the jail that all of those that are scheduled to be released today, all of our J6 hostages are to be released at 3 p.m. minutes away. They did say that it's a fast process. There's a lot of movement. They did say that it may take just a few more minutes, but that is it. This is what happens when the American people come together. Trump there. Great president. This is what happens when you come here together and we join and we unite and we stand here, peaceful demonstration to make sure that attention comes to this. And it brought the media here and it brought this whole, the injustice of what's happening today into the light. And now the exposure, that sunlight is going to end down, raining down freedom on our protected people that are hostages, and they're going to come out heroes. From hostages to heroes.
Heroes! Heroes! Heroes!
Okay, they're asking that I announce that one more time. So, simply this, from hostages to heroes at 3 p.m. They're scheduling this up. They say they're releasing them. That's the word we're getting, that they're about to come out the door, that they're releasing them right at around 3 p.m.
Is that all of it?
That is all that were scheduled to be released today. I don't know if that's cryptic, but it sounds to me like 20 people. So I'm going to pray. I'm going to cross my fingers. I'm with all of you. Our hearts are here. Our spirits are here. We want our people free. We want justice. We'll deal with the justice later. But the first step to that, the road to justice, is seeing these men and women walk out of this jail today.
Yeah, that's right.
Is Marjorie Taylor Greene still going to be here?
So, look, Eli Crane's been on the phone with the House Freedom Caucus. They asked for the address, like where we are. Several of them were asking for the address. That was an hour ago. So I don't know if they're going to make it in time. Rather they do.
They don't even know where he's That's a disgrace.
Yeah, I can't give you that. All I can tell you is that that's the information we just got.
From the
So
prison officials.
I can't. Look, that's the information we just got. I can't say anything more.
Well, they're coming out the front.
I don't know the answers to where they're coming out.
But they're coming out!
They're coming out. That's what we're told.
People are coming home! USA! 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 Hey. They just brought all those lights in.
You are you gonna see?
Yeah, go
I think she's halfway up the street. Oh, she might have went.
Crazy.
Oh my God, it is.
Sorry. They just brought all those bikes in on the back of those pickup trucks.
Throw a bunch of marijuana here before
Oh, we'll be back later, maybe.
Excuse me, sir.
Yep.